Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to DC's Comics. And well, despite the fact that we see all things comics to a certain extent, this is a video that will see me, the D, in DC's Comics, see DC's Comics. So it will be DC's Comics. Or more simply put, and true to what actually inspired the name, DC's Comics. Pun intended. But it's always great to have my fellow DC fans with me. You are delightful comrades in this fandom of ours, and I appreciate you. If you are here from the previous video, I'm glad, and if not, welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll be covering the state and landscape of the DC universe, from the dawn of DC in the comics to the impending DCEU's kickoff.
Let the games begin.
A fitting year and time for DC, because despite being nearly 90 years in, we are at the dawn.
The DC universe is heading toward the light, but it's always darkest before the dawn of DC.
A beginning of sorts across the plane, from the comics through to live action. I wonder whose fault that could be. You know what? One second. You literally brought about the end of two universes in the same year.
My soul. That is what you have taken from me.
I mean, this is the kind of guy Bruce Wayne said he would have wanted to be had he not suffered the fate he did, which would have made him less brooding billionaire and more an irresponsible one.
I want to thank you all for coming here tonight and drinking all of my booze.
That's enough.
Well, I'm not finished.
Yeah, that adds up.
Goddamn freak.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
But instead, I completely broke the universe.
I just don't have to risk Flashpoint paradoxes and affecting the timeline by exploring these universes with you. So I'm far more keen to do so without impending doom. No, not that one. No, not that one either. Okay, right actor, wrong franchise. Yep, that'll do. But I am looking to reach the best fans of our community and provide great DC content for you. And I will
Journeyed across an ocean of stars to reach you.
and find our fans so we can all enjoy this.
I will find him!
Them, not just him, them. I found him. And I lost him. Being such a fan of this franchise and these characters, yeah, I'll let it slide, because you quite literally think you run this franchise.
DC. The house that Batman built.
And it is because of my absolutely healthy and not at all obsessive Batman addiction that I am such a fan of not only you, but comics in general. So we will take a look at those very comics and the movies they've launched. And much like the cinematic universes tend to do, in having the Man of Steel front and center when building out a universe as the foundation. No, wrong character and franchise. And yes, I know Dwayne Superman Muscles Johnson embodies the physique of Superman, but he isn't playing Superman. But then again, no official and final castings have been made, so who am I to say? So don't take my word for it just yet. But Fortnite is the ultimate multiverse, where many of these characters and franchises coexist, including the Big Blue Boy Scouts. So, as I was saying, the 1978 Superman film was the definitive take on a superhero movie, and continued to define them in the landscape for years to come, being the go-to superhero film blueprint and the archetype of the superhero film origin story. And even over at Marvel, being a prerequisite to watch it before making any of their movies. Not only is he capable of defining the superhero film landscape, but any landscape for that matter. He was front and center for the small screen universe in Smallville and spawned his own Justice League. He was front and center again for the DCEU and spawned another Justice League. And you guessed it, he is front and center for the DCU, and I'm sure he will spawn yet another Justice League. Having the symbol of hope front and center seems to be key in the DC universe. So, having spawned the modern day comic book 2 and going back to his comic book roots, he is front and center again in this year's Dawn of DC event. After the events of the near multiverse ending Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths and Lazarus Planet. Dawn of DC is an easy entry point for first time fans as well as us fanatics. Fanatics. Is that where the word fan comes from? Give me a second. A quick Google search can confirm that it is. Look at us learning here while having fun. Or maybe it's just me. So in January of this year, Action Comics 1051 kicked off this year-long event. An event that will celebrate the classic characters, as well as give the spotlight to the next generation of heroes. With the likes of John Kent becoming Superman and the Titans finally stepping up to take on the job they've been training for to fill in the vacated spot left by the Justice League. With over 20 new titles launching throughout 2023, from the Doom Patrol to Penguin, Cyborg to our favorite heroes in green in the Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, to the Emerald Archer Green Arrow with one of my favorite artists, Sean Izaakse, who, like me, is also a superhero. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm not. What I meant to say is, who like me is also South African. And Batman is obviously always in the mix, okay, chill. As well as his son Damian with Batman the Brave and the Bold this May. And from one Bat son to another with Billy returning as the champion Shazam and adopting a new name as the Captain. In a comic reuniting Batman, Superman, World's Finest writer Mark Waid with artist Dan Mora. And from one captain to another, well, of his football team, with Cyborg potentially holding the secrets to Earth's future after being forever changed by the events of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths in his own solo series. DC has an exciting comic slate ahead, and this year-long event highlights what DC does best. Reboots. No, kidding. Grand-scale event storytelling that turns the dial up to 11. That already sets such a tone, but the excitement and hype does not end as the comic book pages close each week. DC has quite the year ahead in films still before the DCEU's kickoff. This universal reset comes courtesy of the Crimson Comet. Oh wait, wrong Flash. Isn't he the older, wiser, less timeline destroying one?
Oh, Barry. What have you done this time?
What are you doing? Because I wanted to.
What?
I wanted to! And I liked it!
I meant this universal resetting of the stage is sponsored by your Scarlet Speedster.
Gotta go faster than the speed of light, far beyond the speed of light. Gotta break the rule, Barry, and you gotta do it now.
Which is set to welcome new faces and takes on our favorite heroes. And despite this being a live-action universe, it kicks off in animated form through the Creature Commandos, which is an interesting prospect, as they will form part of the greater universe, and their live-action roles will be reprised by the very actors tasked with bringing their voice talents to said animated feature. With talents like Frank Grillo, David Harbour and Sean Gunn making the universal jump to DC without the dire consequences. Get a load of this, Flash. Universe jumping without, and I reiterate, without the dire consequences. So just as I told Batman, take some notes, pal. The actual kickoff does have the date, and it's the date that Superman Legacy soars into cinemas. July 11th, 2025. With another Marvel talent at the helm in James Gunn, the now co-CEO of DC Studios. With a new iteration of Batman on the cards.
I'm Batman.
No, not you.
I'm Batman.
No, not you either. Through to the first live-action appearance of the Authority, and a fan favorite finally coming to the big screen in Swamp Thing. With the film set to be directed by James Mangold, who most recently directed Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. James Mangold is also working on another franchise favorite of mine over at Star Wars. As he juggles these two projects, let's just hope he fares better than the last Star Wars guy who came to DC to no avail. Not mentioning any names. So, from the green through to our favorites in Green Lantern Corps. We DC fans sure have an affinity to green, don't we? But we will see this year out with films like The Flash speeding into cinemas, after the slowest production alive. 10 years, a window that saw the entire run, pun intended, of the Flash TV series begin and end in the interim. To Blue Beetle kicking up some fun stuff and taking a dive back to the underwater city of Atlantis in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Oh, so perhaps we won't be returning to Atlantis unless it's an alternate Lost Kingdom, which is most likely the case. Some cool projects remain as remnants of the DCEU, but it has us wondering about characters that may survive the Universal reboot, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, the upcoming Blue Beetle, and Mr. I Caused All of This, The Flash, and Supergirl. But it remains to be seen if we see this Kara Zor-El or Barry Allen again. Whether or not this Kara is the one we see in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, or if this Barry Allen is the same one we see in upcoming projects and films, or his own sequel Flash film set either in the DCU or Elseworlds. While we are already wondering about characters and the fates that await them, there's the likes of Green Arrow, Nightwing, Raven, and Mr. Terrific, and if they would get another outing after their more recent TV stints. But this transitional period still has some details to iron out, as the majority of DC's TV shows have all but come to an end. And with the Sandman universe and Dead Boy detectives having spun off from Doom Patrol, those two may not connect to one another, let alone the greater DCU, which is most likely the case.
The next day.
There is a lot in production, but no dates have been set. The only date we have for next year sees only one DC project, and it's strictly to the big screen in Joker Folie à Deux, which is only at the back end of next year on October 4th, and at current, nothing else on either the big or small screen. So, the Lazarus pit of content may dry up, only to be replenished by the Batman sequel, which is only at the back end of 2025. But the July of 2025 will see Superman Legacy's release race into cinemas before the Batman and save us from the hiatus. But we can look forward to news about other streaming projects that could receive release dates set to air in that period of time, such as the animated My Adventures with Superman.
My Adventures with Superman, 2-episode series premiere, Thursday, July 6th at midnight on Adult Swim.
The future does look bright for DC and DC Studios. Optimistic and full of hope. Pun intended. DC keeps things interesting, that is for sure. However unintentionally they do so at times. We have a lot to look forward to, whether we are reading speech bubbles on a page or comfortably in front of an IMAX screen or our TVs or devices at home. The ending, birth, and rebirth of universes set within the realm of DC always makes for fascinating tales. The dawn of DC and the DCU is upon us. I, for one, am always buckled in and ready, and look forward to what's to come with a fond view of what has been. From some of the greatest films of all time to the greatest interconnected world on TV. We move forward once again and embrace this new chapter of storytelling of DC. With Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters of the DCU, or in the comics, The Dawn of DC. From new stories and comic book tales to the movies and series, new takes and iterations of our favorite characters, diabolical plans and villains, and heroic moments that will leave you in awe. All I know is that it takes a league of fans to do this any justice. We could not enjoy this alone or in solitude, in our fortresses of solitude, without our fellow DC fans in this fandom. Nor would we want to. Nothing is legendary without your friends there to experience it with you. So until next time, keep your head on a swivel for notifications of future episodes. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Leave some love and theories in the comments section, as well as what you guys are enjoying or want more of, or areas you think we can do better. Throw some batarangs at that like button.
Pow. Wham. Kazap. First try.
And as always, have a great day. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.